I stood in the doorway of our bedroom, frozen. My wife Victoria was laughing into her phone, her voice bright and flirtatious in a way I hadn't heard in months. She didn't know I was home early from my delivery job. "No, he doesn't suspect anything," she said, twirling her hair. "He's too busy working his pathetic routes to notice." "Yes, I'll see you Friday. Wear that cologne I like." My heart dropped into my stomach. I stepped back quietly, my hand gripping the doorframe to steady myself. After 3 years of marriage, after everything I'd sacrificed to make her happy, this was how it ended. Victoria finally noticed me. Her face went pale, then quickly hardened. "How long have you been standing there?" "Long enough," I managed, my voice steadier than I felt. She didn't apologize. Instead, she stood up, crossing her arms. "Maybe if you were a real man with a real career, I wouldn't need to look elsewhere. I married you thinking you'd amount to something, but you're just a delivery driver." Her words cut deep, but I kept my face blank. She had no idea who I really was. Nobody did. That was about to change. I'd met Victoria 4 years ago at a community college where I was taking night classes. She was studying business management, and I was auditing a coding course under a fake name. She thought I was struggling to make ends meet, working days and studying nights. That part was true, in a way. I did work, just not the way she imagined. Our courtship was quick. She was beautiful, charming, and ambitious. I fell hard, ignoring the small red flags, how she emphasized money in every conversation, how she compared me to her friends' boyfriends, how she'd sigh when I picked her up in my old sedan. I thought love would be enough. I thought if I gave her stability and attention, she'd see my value beyond a paycheck. So I kept my secret, playing the role of the humble delivery driver while building an empire she knew nothing about. My company, Apex Logistics Solutions, operated under a complex LLC structure. I was the silent owner of a tech platform that revolutionized supply chain management. The delivery routes I mentioned? I was testing our software in real-world conditions. My net worth was approaching $40 million. And my wife was cheating on me because she thought I wasn't successful enough. The irony was almost funny. That night, I slept in the guest room. Victoria didn't try to stop me or explain. She simply went to bed as if nothing had happened, which told me everything I needed to know. This affair wasn't new. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying our relationship in my mind. The signs had been there for months. Her sudden interest in dressing up for girls' nights. The way she'd started going to the gym religiously. Her phone always face down on tables. I'd been so focused on expanding my business that I'd missed it all. By morning, I'd made my decision. I wouldn't confront her with anger or threats. I'd simply let things play out naturally. She wanted a successful man. She was about to discover she'd had one all along. I got up early and made coffee, acting normal. Victoria came downstairs in her robe, her expression cold and distant. "We need to talk about last night," I said calmly. She poured herself coffee, not meeting my eyes. "What's there to talk about?" "You heard what you heard." "I'm not happy, Alex. I haven't been for a while." I nodded slowly. "I see. So what do you want to do?" She hesitated, clearly not expecting this calm response. "I need time to think." "Take all the time you need," I said quietly. I went to work as usual, which meant heading to my private office downtown, a space Victoria had never visited. My assistant Kyle looked up as I entered, immediately sensing something was wrong. "Everything okay, boss?" I sat down heavily. "Victoria's having an affair." Kyle winced. He was one of 3 people who knew my true identity. "I'm sorry, man. What are you going to do?" "Let her think she's won," I said, booting up my computer. "For now." I spent that morning reviewing contracts and expansion plans. Apex was in talks with 2 major retailers about implementing our platform nationwide. The deals would push my net worth past $60 million within a year. My phone buzzed with a text from Victoria, "Staying at my mom's tonight. Need space." I didn't respond. Kyle appeared in my doorway. "The Anderson meeting is in an hour. You still want to take it?" I nodded. Business didn't stop for heartbreak. The Anderson Corporation meeting went smoothly. They were impressed with our platform's capabilities, asking detailed questions about scalability and security. By the end, they verbally committed to a 3-year contract worth $18 million. On my way out, the CEO shook my hand. "You've built something remarkable, Alex. This is going to change the industry." If only Victoria could hear that. Victoria stayed at her mother's house for 3 days. During that time, I moved forward with my plans quietly. I consulted with my attorney about protecting my assets, just in case things got messy. "Your company is entirely separate from the marriage," he confirmed. "The LLC structure we established protects you. But if you're considering divorce, we should move quickly before she discovers the truth." I wasn't ready for divorce yet. Part of me, the foolish, hopeful part, still wanted her to wake up and realize what she was throwing away. When Victoria finally came home, she was different. Colder, more determined. She'd made her decision. "I want a divorce," she announced, standing in the living room with her arms crossed. "This isn't working anymore. You're a good person, Alex, but I need more. I need someone with ambition, with drive." I felt something break inside me, but I kept my voice steady. "If that's what you want." She blinked, surprised by my easy agreement. "You're not going to fight for us?" "Would it matter?" I asked quietly. She looked away. "No. Probably not." "Then I won't waste either of our time," I said. "I'll find a lawyer tomorrow." My attorney drew up divorce papers quickly. The settlement was straightforward. Victoria would get the house, which I'd bought under my delivery driver persona, for $300,000, and half of my visible assets, which amounted to about $40,000 in our joint accounts. She had no idea about Apex, about my real wealth, about anything. And legally, she had no claim to it. The company was established before our marriage under a separate identity. Kyle thought I was crazy for giving her the house. "That's $300,000, man." "It's pocket change," I said tiredly. "And it's worth it to be done cleanly." Victoria signed the papers without reading them carefully, eager to move on with her life. I later learned through a mutual friend that she'd already moved in with her affair partner, a regional sales manager named Preston who drove a leased BMW and talked constantly about his 6-figure income. She thought she'd traded up. 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized, I sold the house for $450,000. The market had risen. I sent Victoria her half, $225,000. She texted me a brief thanks, nothing more. I moved into a luxury apartment downtown, finally living according to my actual means. It felt strange after years of pretending. 6 months passed. I threw myself into work, expanding Apex aggressively. We signed 4 major contracts, hired 30 new employees, and opened offices in 3 cities. My net worth climbed to $70 million. I started dating again, nothing serious. I was honest with people now about my career, which felt liberating after years of hiding. Women were interested, but I kept everyone at arm's length. The betrayal still stung. Through mutual friends, I heard updates about Victoria. She was engaged to Preston, planning a big wedding. They'd moved into a nice condo in the suburbs. She seemed happy, posting carefully curated photos on social media of their perfect life. I felt nothing when I saw those posts. The love I'd had for her had burned away, leaving only indifference. Then one evening, Kyle burst into my office with his laptop. "Boss, you need to see this." He pulled up a news article, "Regional Sales Manager Arrested for Embezzlement Scheme." Preston's photo stared back at me. According to the article, he'd been stealing from his company for 2 years, creating fake accounts and pocketing commissions. The total amount exceeded $300,000. He was looking at serious prison time. I sat back, processing. Does Victoria know? It just broke an hour ago, Kyle said. So probably not yet. I didn't reach out to Victoria. It wasn't my place anymore, and frankly, I didn't care. But I was curious how she'd react, so I checked her social media over the next few days. The carefully curated posts stopped. Then came a cryptic message: sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who hurt you worst. A mutual friend called me, unable to contain her gossip. Did you hear about Victoria? Preston got arrested. She had no idea he was stealing. The engagement's off, and she's apparently broke because he'd been using her money too. I felt a flicker of satisfaction, then guilt for feeling satisfied. That's rough, I said neutrally. She's moving back in with her mom, the friend continued. Lost the condo, the car, everything. Karma, right? After how she treated you. After we hung up, I stared at my phone for a long time. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated, but mostly I just felt tired. This whole mess could have been avoided if she'd just been honest, if she'd valued character over cash. 2 weeks later, I received a friend request on social media from Victoria. I stared at it for 5 minutes before declining it. I was done looking backward. Life continued smoothly for me. Apex Logistics Solutions landed its biggest contract yet, a partnership with a national retail chain worth $40 million over 5 years. The deal was announced in industry publications, though my name wasn't mentioned publicly. I preferred operating behind the scenes. I promoted Kyle to Vice President of Operations and hired a full executive team. The company was growing beyond what I could manage alone, which was both exciting and terrifying. I also started a quiet philanthropic effort, funding scholarships for students from low-income backgrounds studying technology and business. I called it the Second Chance Foundation, because everyone deserved an opportunity to build something better. One evening, I attended a charity gala for local businesses. I rarely went to these events, but my company had donated significantly, and the organizers insisted I attend. That's where I ran into Brooke, Victoria's best friend from college. We'd always gotten along well, though she'd sided with Victoria during the divorce. Alex? She approached hesitantly, looking genuinely surprised. I almost didn't recognize you. You look different. I smiled politely. New chapter, new look. She glanced around the elegant venue. Are you here with someone from work? I am the work, I said simply. Apex Logistics Solutions. I'm the founder. Her eyes widened. Wait, you're the Apex guy? The one who just signed that massive deal? Brooke's shock was almost comical. But you were a delivery driver. You drove that old car. You and Victoria lived so modestly. I was testing software, I explained patiently. And I liked living modestly. Still do, mostly. She shook her head slowly, processing. Does Victoria know? No. And I'd prefer to keep it that way. Brooke looked conflicted. Alex, she's struggling. Preston took everything. She's working 2 jobs just to pay off his debts that she stupidly co-signed for. I felt a twinge of sympathy despite myself. That's unfortunate. She regrets everything, Brooke continued quietly. She told me last week that divorcing you was the biggest mistake of her life. She didn't see what she had. She didn't want what she had, I corrected gently. She wanted something I wasn't. That's not love, Brooke. Brooke nodded sadly. You're right. I just thought you should know. After she left, I stood alone on the balcony, looking out at the city lights. I didn't feel triumphant or vindicated. I just felt sad for what could have been. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi Alex. It's Victoria. Brooke gave me your new number. Can we talk? I stared at the message for a long moment, then deleted it without responding. Victoria didn't give up easily. Over the next week, I received several more texts, each one increasingly desperate. I didn't respond to any of them. Then she showed up at my apartment building. The concierge called up. "Sir, there's a Victoria Chambers here to see you. She says it's important." I hesitated, then sighed. "Send her up." When I opened the door, Victoria looked different. Thinner, tired, her clothes simple and worn. The polished woman I'd married was gone. "Thank you for seeing me," she said quietly. I stepped aside, letting her into my apartment. Her eyes widened as she took in the space, the floor-to-ceiling windows, the expensive furniture, the original artwork on the walls. "Nice place," she managed. "What do you want, Victoria?" She sat on the edge of the couch, hands clasped tightly. "Brooke told me the truth. About your company. About who you really are." I said nothing, just waited. "I was such a fool," she continued, her voice breaking. "All that time, you were right there, and I was too blind to see it. I threw away everything for a fantasy." "Yes, you did," I agreed quietly. She looked up, tears streaming down her face. "Can you ever forgive me?" I sat across from Victoria, maintaining distance. Her tears didn't move me the way they once would have. Too much had happened, too much trust had been shattered. "Forgiveness is complicated," I said finally. "You didn't just cheat, Victoria. You looked at me every day with contempt. You made me feel worthless because I didn't meet your financial expectations." She nodded miserably. "I know. I was horrible. You never loved me," I continued, my voice calm but firm. "You loved the idea of what you thought I should be. When I didn't match that image, you decided I wasn't enough." "That's not true," she protested weakly. "I did love you. Then why wasn't I enough?" I asked simply. She had no answer. I stood up, signaling the conversation was over. "I forgive you, Victoria. Not for your sake, but for mine. I don't want to carry anger anymore. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. We're done." She stood too, reaching for my hand. "Please, Alex. Give me another chance. I've learned my lesson. I know what really matters now." I gently pulled away. "You learned it too late. And honestly, I don't think you've really learned it at all. You're here because you found out I'm wealthy, not because you realized I have value as a person." Her face crumpled, but she didn't argue. She knew I was right. After Victoria left, I felt strangely lighter. That conversation had been necessary, closure I hadn't realized I needed. I texted Brooke, "Please don't give Victoria my information again." She responded immediately, "I'm sorry. I thought I was helping. She's really struggling, though." "That's not my responsibility anymore," I replied. Kyle noticed my improved mood the next day. "You seem better." "Victoria showed up yesterday," I said. "We talked. It's really over now." He nodded approvingly. "Good. You deserve better than someone who only values you for your bank account." The Anderson Corporation deal officially launched that week. The implementation required my direct involvement, which meant long hours and intense focus. I threw myself into work, grateful for the distraction. During a site visit, I met Amanda, one of Anderson's project managers. She was sharp, funny, and seemed genuinely impressed by the technology itself rather than its financial implications. We grabbed coffee after the meeting, talking about logistics optimization and supply chain theory. It was refreshing to connect with someone over shared professional interests. "Your platform is revolutionary," she said enthusiastically. "How did you even think of this approach?" I smiled. "Necessity and observation. I spent months doing actual delivery routes, seeing where the inefficiencies were." "That's brilliant," she said, eyes bright. "Most tech guys never get their hands dirty." Over the next month, Amanda and I worked closely on the Anderson implementation. Our professional relationship gradually became personal, lunches turned into dinners, work discussions evolved into genuine conversations about life, dreams, and experiences. She knew about Apex from the beginning, but she was more interested in the innovation than the income. When I told her about Victoria, she listened without judgment. That must have been devastating, she said simply. It was, I admitted. But it taught me something important. People will show you who they are if you pay attention. Amanda nodded thoughtfully. My ex-husband left me when I got sick. Cancer. He couldn't handle it. So I understand betrayal. We bonded over our shared wounds, but neither of us rushed into anything. We were both cautious, both healing. Meanwhile, Victoria continued trying to reach out through mutual friends. I heard she'd lost her second job and was considering bankruptcy. Part of me felt bad for her situation, but I couldn't let myself get pulled back into her chaos. One evening, my mother called. I ran into Victoria's mother at the grocery store. She mentioned Victoria's struggling financially. I know, Mom, I said gently. Are you going to help her? I paused, considering. No. She made her choices. My mother was silent for a moment. You're right. I just wanted to check. 6 months after my conversation with Victoria, Apex Logistics Solutions was featured in a major business publication. The article detailed our growth, our technology, and our impact on the industry. My photo was included, the first time I'd publicly been identified as the company's founder. The article went viral in business circles. My phone exploded with calls from investors, journalists, and old acquaintances suddenly interested in reconnecting. Kyle rushed into my office, grinning. Boss, we're trending. This is huge exposure. I scrolled through the article comments, seeing praise, skepticism, and everything in between. One comment caught my eye. This is the guy whose wife divorced him thinking he was broke. Bet she's regretting it now. I closed my laptop, uncomfortable with the public attention. This was exactly why I'd stayed anonymous for so long. That evening, I received a voicemail from Victoria. Her voice was small, defeated. I saw the article. I don't even know what to say. Congratulations on your success. You deserve it. I'm sorry for everything. I deleted the message without responding. Amanda called shortly after. I saw the article. Are you okay? I know you hate publicity. I'm fine, I said, grateful for her understanding. Just ready for the buzz to die down. Want to get dinner and hide from the world? I smiled. Yes. Absolutely yes. The publicity from the article brought unexpected opportunities. 3 venture capital firms reached out about expansion funding. 2 industry giants inquired about acquisition. I wasn't interested in selling, but the valuations they suggested were staggering, north of $200 million. I was officially wealthy beyond anything I'd imagined when I started Apex. I hired a financial advisor to help manage the complexity. He suggested diversifying, investing in real estate and other ventures. I also increased my charitable giving significantly, expanding the Second Chance Foundation to include housing assistance and job training. Amanda and I became official, though we kept things private. She understood my need for discretion after years of hiding my success from Victoria. It's strange, I told her one evening. I have all this money now, but I still drive a modest car and live simply. She smiled. That's because money didn't change who you are. It just revealed what was already there. I appreciated that perspective. Victoria had wanted me to change into someone I wasn't. Amanda accepted who I actually was. One afternoon, Brooke called unexpectedly. Alex, I need to tell you something about Victoria. I tensed. What now? She's in the hospital. She tried to hurt herself. My blood ran cold. What? I drove to the hospital in a daze, Amanda beside me for support. Whatever Victoria had done to me, I didn't want her dead. That thought horrified me. Brooke met us in the waiting room, her face red from crying. She took pills. They pumped her stomach. She's stable, but what? I asked. She left a note. It mentioned you, the divorce, losing everything. The doctors think it was a genuine attempt, not a cry for help. I sat down heavily, processing. Amanda squeezed my hand. Can I see her? I asked. Brooke nodded. She's asking for you. Victoria looked small and fragile in the hospital bed, IVs in her arms, monitors beeping softly. Her eyes were closed, but they opened when I approached. Alex, she whispered. You came. Of course I came, I said quietly, pulling a chair beside the bed. Tears leaked from the corners of her eyes. I'm so sorry. For everything. I ruined my life and tried to ruin yours too. Victoria, you need help. Professional help. This isn't just about the divorce or money. She nodded weakly. I know. I've been depressed for months, maybe years. I just kept running from it, blaming everyone else. I held her hand gently. You're going to get through this. But you have to do the work. I paid for Victoria's treatment at a private mental health facility. It cost $30,000 for a month-long program, money I could easily afford. Amanda questioned whether I should, given our history. She hurt you deeply, Amanda said carefully. Are you sure this is healthy? I'm not doing it because I love her, I explained. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. She's sick. She needs help. Amanda nodded, respecting my decision even if she didn't fully agree. Victoria's mother called me, sobbing with gratitude. Thank you, Alex. You didn't have to do this after everything she put you through. I know, I said simply. During her treatment, Victoria wasn't allowed outside contact. I received updates from her therapist, who confirmed she was making progress, working through deep-seated issues around self-worth and validation. Meanwhile, life continued. Apex landed another major contract. I promoted 3 employees and opened a 4th office. The company was thriving beyond my wildest projections. Amanda and I grew closer. She met my parents, who loved her immediately. She was real, grounded, genuinely interested in people rather than status. One evening, she asked, "Do you ever regret marrying Victoria?" I thought carefully. No. Because that experience taught me what real love should look like. It taught me to value authenticity over image. She smiled. That's a healthy perspective. When Victoria completed her treatment program, I agreed to meet her for coffee. She looked healthier, color in her cheeks, clarity in her eyes that hadn't been there before. Thank you, she said immediately. For paying for treatment. For not letting me destroy myself completely. You're welcome, I said carefully. How are you feeling? She took a deep breath. Clearer. Ashamed. Hopeful. It's complicated. Therapy helped me see how messed up my priorities were. I was chasing an image of success instead of actual happiness. I nodded, listening. I owe you an actual apology, she continued. Not a desperate, self-serving one. A real one. I treated you horribly. I valued all the wrong things. I threw away someone good because I was too shallow and broken to see what I had. I accept your apology, I said quietly. I'm not asking for another chance, she added quickly. I know that ship has sailed. I just needed you to know that I understand now what I lost. We talked for another hour. It was the most honest conversation we'd ever had. When we parted, I felt genuine peace about our relationship. It was truly over, but without bitterness. Amanda was waiting at my apartment when I returned. How did it go? Better than expected, I said, pulling her close. It's really finished now. A year after my divorce, Apex Logistics Solutions was valued at $300 million. I owned 70%, making my personal net worth over $200 million. It was surreal, especially remembering where I'd started. I proposed to Amanda on a quiet beach at sunset, no grand gestures or expensive theatrics. Just us, the ocean, and a simple question, will you spend your life with me? She said yes, tears streaming down her face. We planned a small wedding, 50 people, mostly close friends and family. I didn't want spectacle, I wanted meaning. Victoria sent a card when she heard about the engagement. Inside, she'd written, "Congratulations, Alex. I'm genuinely happy for you. You deserve all the good things. Thank you for showing me grace when I didn't deserve it. V." I showed the card to Amanda. Is it weird that I'm glad she's doing better? Amanda shook her head. That's what makes you a good person. You can move on without needing her to suffer. My parents were thrilled about the wedding. My mother pulled me aside one afternoon. Amanda is perfect for you. She sees you, really sees you. She does, I agreed. That's why I love her. The wedding was beautiful, simple, heartfelt, full of genuine joy. Standing at the altar watching Amanda walk toward me, I felt grateful for every painful experience that had led me here. Married life with Amanda was everything marriage should be: partnership, respect, laughter, and genuine affection. We bought a house together, nothing ostentatious, just a comfortable home in a quiet neighborhood. She continued working at Anderson Corporation, refusing to quit just because I was wealthy. I like my job, she said firmly. I'm not going to give up my career. I love that about her. Apex continued growing. We expanded internationally, opening offices in 3 countries. I hired a CEO to handle daily operations, stepping back into a chairman role. I wanted time for other things: my marriage, my foundation, my life. The Second Chance Foundation now operated in 15 states, providing scholarships, housing assistance, and job training to thousands of people annually. It was my proudest accomplishment, even beyond Apex. One afternoon, I received a letter from Victoria. She'd gotten a job at a nonprofit, helping women recover from financial abuse. She'd found purpose in her pain. I'm in a better place now, she wrote. Therapy continues to help. I'm learning to value the right things. Thank you again for everything. I hope you and Amanda are happy. I showed the letter to Amanda. She seems like she's really changed. Amanda nodded thoughtfully. People can change when they're willing to do the hard work. Most just aren't willing. 2 years into our marriage, Amanda and I started talking about children. The conversation was complicated because of her cancer history. Doctors had said pregnancy might be risky. I want kids, she admitted one evening. But I'm scared. We have options, I said gently. Adoption, surrogacy, fostering. There are lots of ways to build a family. We explored all the possibilities, eventually deciding to pursue both pregnancy, with careful medical supervision, and fostering simultaneously. If she could safely carry a child, wonderful. If not, we'd build our family another way. Meanwhile, Victoria's life continued improving. She'd been promoted at her nonprofit, started dating someone new, a teacher who, according to Brooke, was kind and stable. I was genuinely glad for her. Apex was acquired by a major tech conglomerate for $420 million. I retained a significant advisory role in stock options, but the sale freed me from daily responsibilities. At 35, I was essentially retired with more money than I could spend in multiple lifetimes. What are you going to do with all that free time? Amanda teased. Focus on the foundation, I said. And on you. Maybe travel, write, mentor young entrepreneurs. I've got options. She laughed. As long as one option is helping me paint the nursery. I froze. Nursery? She nodded, grinning through tears. I'm pregnant. 8 weeks. The doctors say everything looks good so far. Amanda's pregnancy was carefully monitored. Every appointment, every test, every milestone was simultaneously exciting and terrifying. But she stayed healthy, the baby grew steadily, and by month 6 we allowed ourselves to relax and enjoy it. We found out we were having a daughter. I cried when I saw the ultrasound, overwhelmed by the idea of being someone's father. She's going to be so lucky to have you, Amanda said, squeezing my hand. I shook my head. I'm the lucky one. The Second Chance Foundation expanded again, now operating nationally with satellite offices and partnerships with major corporations. We'd helped over 10,000 people in 5 years, a number that staggered me. One of our scholarship recipients, a young woman named Tanya, graduated from MIT and started her own tech company. She credited our program with changing her life trajectory. "You gave me a chance when nobody else would," she said at our annual gala, her voice thick with emotion. "Now I want to do the same for others." Watching her speak, I felt my life come full circle. The pain Victoria had caused had pushed me to build something meaningful beyond just business success. Later that evening, Victoria approached me at the gala. I was surprised to see her there. "I volunteer with the foundation," she explained. "Brooke told me about it. I hope that's okay." "Of course it's okay," I said, genuinely pleased. "How are you?" Victoria looked healthy and at peace. "I'm good. Really good. I got engaged last month." "Congratulations," I said warmly. "I'm happy for you." She glanced at Amanda across the room. "She's wonderful. You found what you deserved." "We both did," I replied. "You seem happy too." She nodded. "I am. It took hitting rock bottom to figure out what actually matters. My fiancé is a teacher. He makes $40,000 a year and drives a 10-year-old truck. And I love him more than I ever thought possible because he's genuine and kind." I smiled. "That's what really counts." "I'm sorry it took me so long to learn that lesson," she said quietly. "And I'm sorry I had to hurt you in the process." "We both learn from it," I said. "That's what matters now." Amanda joined us, slipping her hand into mine. Victoria congratulated her on the pregnancy, and they chatted warmly for a few minutes. There was no tension, no awkwardness, just 3 people who'd moved forward from painful circumstances. After Victoria left, Amanda looked at me. "That must have been strange." "Actually," I said, "it felt right. Like everything finally came full circle." Our daughter Olivia was born on a perfect spring morning. She was healthy, beautiful, and immediately the center of our universe. Holding her for the first time, I thought about how far I'd traveled from that moment when I'd stood in the doorway watching my wife betray me. That pain had led me here, to this woman, this child, this life of purpose and meaning. Amanda and I raised Olivia with the values we both cherished: kindness, authenticity, hard work, and generosity. She grew up knowing about the foundation, understanding that wealth carried responsibility. Apex continued thriving under new leadership. My stock options made me wealthier than I'd ever imagined, but that money funded scholarships, housing initiatives, and medical assistance for families in need. Victoria and I maintained a cordial distance. I'd see her occasionally at foundation events, always polite, always genuinely happy for each other's success. She married her teacher and seemed content with a simpler life focused on meaningful work. On Olivia's 5th birthday, Amanda and I stood in our backyard watching her play with friends. "You know what I'm most grateful for?" I said. "What?" Amanda asked, leaning against me. "That I never became bitter. Victoria's betrayal could have destroyed me, made me cynical and closed off. Instead, it pushed me to build something better, this company, this foundation, this family." Amanda smiled. "That's because you chose growth over resentment. Not everyone can do that." As the sun set over our yard, I watched my daughter laugh and play, surrounded by love and security. This was success, not the money in my accounts or the company I'd built, but the life I'd created from the ashes of betrayal. Victoria had betrayed me thinking I was nothing. But in losing me, she'd lost someone who could have given her everything that mattered. And in losing her, I'd found everything I'd actually needed. The orphan, the delivery driver, the betrayed husband, all those versions of myself had led me here, to this moment of complete contentment. I was exactly who I was meant to be. And that was enough.